Hi guys, it's Mrs. Anderson, and what we're going to be doing is a creative alphabet. But where did alphabets come from? You might recognize the images on the screen as Egyptian hieroglyphics. And where did we find those? In the Egyptian pyramids. This is a screenshot duplication of one of the walls of an Egyptian pyramid. And who did they honor in these pyramids? The pharaoh. That's why this is the largest area up here with the largest bird. That's going to represent your pharaoh. If you look at all the other characters, those represent the other people who were important in his life, kind of like the president and the president's cabinet. If you look down here, you'll notice these four ovals. Those are called cartouches, and those represent the number of sons that the pharaoh had. But what about the daughters? What about his wife or wives? None of them are mentioned here. All of these figures represent males. Then Queen Nefertiti came along and said, "We're not going to make any more babies for the Egyptian throne. And what will you do then?" And all of a sudden, women started gaining power, and Queen Nefertiti wound up taking the throne in Egypt. And then our alphabet started to evolve. We had the Phoenician alphabet, Old Hebrew, Early Greek, Classical Greek, Etruscan, Early Latin, and what we use today is Modern Roman. So how many letters are in our alphabet? No, it's not 26. No, it's not. It's 52. There are 52 letters in our alphabet because we have an upper and a lower case. It doesn't matter that some of the letters look similar, especially the letter S. One is larger and one is smaller, so we do have 52 letters in our alphabet. You might recognize this. It's something we did last year called calligraphy. You might have a hard time reading it because it's not English. What people did was they took a quill or a pen or a brush, dipped it into ink, and started writing letters. Then they embellished the parchment or the paper so that they had a manuscript. This took hours and hours of work. And as time evolved, so did our computer skills, and now we have all different fonts at the touch of a button. We have simple fonts like Casual and Comic Sans, and we have very decorative fonts like Edwardian Script and Zapfino. You might see something like Zapfino on the cover of a menu or on a bottle of wine. But when you look at things that are easy to read, such as the inside of a menu, you're going to have something much more simple like Casual so that it's easier for everyone to read. When we take a look at this font, it's called Infante Bubble. It's supposed to represent a mix of an elephant and a bubble put together. When we look at tools of the trade, that's kind of boring. But what if we change the tools of the trade to actually include tools? Maybe your T could be a hammer. Your O's could be nuts and bolts. Your L could be an L square, a type of ruler. Your S could be a rope. And you say, wait a minute, what are you doing with a rope as a tool? Well, it said tools of the trade. I didn't tell you what my trade was. Maybe my trade is that I'm a murderer. I'll need the rope to hang you. And then once you're dead, you are my students. I wouldn't want to just leave you for the animals. I want to build you a nice coffin. So I take my hammer and my nails and my nuts and my bolts, and I start to build you a coffin. And of course, I want to make sure that the edges are squared off. So I use my L square. And then I could use a shovel to bury you, and I could use an axe to cut down wood, or all different types of tools. And that would be the tools of my trade. Now, clearly, I'm not a mass murderer. Make sure all your friends know I'm just that lonely, crazy art teacher that makes up all these great stories. These are fonts that you've become so used to seeing, even if your name was written in them, you would recognize the Coca-Cola font or the Walt Disney font or the Harry Potter font. But what you're going to do is not create a font, but to draw the letters of the alphabet using images. And my next video will show you a sample of how to draw these letters.